Finally, Harriet's mother tells her to break off their friendship. "We must expect to set a standard," she says. "However much we may want to find new friends whom we may value, people who are exciting to us because of new ideas or because they are different, we have to do what is expected of us." We have to do what is expected of us. It is hard to think of a better definition of conformity. One of the novel's surprises is the essential role that women play in enforcing society's expectations. The road through the wall exists almost entirely in the world of women and children. Nearly all the action takes place after the men have gone off to work. It would be a stretch to call it a feminist novel, not least because Jackson seems to have had an allergy to the word. Still, the way she portrays certain of her characters' attitudes strikingly anticipates the movement to come. One neighbor regards herself as something more than a housewife and is scorned by the others for putting on airs. But no escape is possible from the hothouse of hostility in which these women exist. The psychological intrigues that dominate their lives turn out to be far from superficial. In fact, they have the power to bring down the neighborhood. Things start to fall apart not long after Harriet's rejection of Marilyn, and the pace of disintegration accelerates until the novel's disastrous conclusion. The novel includes well over a dozen characters, but Jackson's control over her material is superb. She parcels out scenes in perfect rhythm, maintaining the book's taut atmosphere. Every description is carefully calculated for what it reveals, both about the character to whom it refers and the person whose attitude it represents. When Marilyn sneaks into the home of Helen Williams, the girl who is her chief tormentor as the family is moving out, she notices the poor quality of the furniture and regrets having been so easily intimidated. Helen dressed every morning for school in front of that grimy dresser, ate breakfast at that slatternly table. No one whose life was bounded by things like that was invulnerable. Jackson's readers will recognize here the early flutterings of her interest in houses and their furnishings as expressions of psychological states. One unfortunate family lives in a recent regrettable pink stucco with the abortive front porch, unhappily popular in late suburban developments. In an astonishing, almost throwaway aphorism, Jackson comments, "No man owns a house because he really wants a house, any more than he marries because he favors monogamy." Compared to The Haunting of Hill House or We Have Always Lived in the Castle, Jackson's masterful late novels, The Road Through the Wall is a slighter work, but it is marvelously written, with the careful attention to structure, the precision of detail, and the brilliant bite of irony that would always define her style. There are wonderful moments of humor, as when one of the neighborhood girls, seeking to decorate her living room with some high-class art, accidentally orders a set of pornographic photographs. And the Merriam household is an all-too-convincing portrait of familial dysfunction. After Harriet's mother discovers her daughter's secret writings, she forces Harriet to burn them in the furnace while her father sits obliviously at the dinner table. "Seems like a man has a right to have a quiet home," he grumbles to himself. Later, Harriet and her mother will spend afternoons writing together. Mrs. Merriam writes a poem titled Death and Soft Music, while Harriet's is called To My Mother. A childhood poem in Jackson's archive bears a similar title. The Road Through the Wall was published by Farrar, Straus in January 1948 to a largely unappreciative audience. Critics were put off by the book's unpleasant characters, its grim tone, and its violent conclusion. But some recognize Jackson's inimitable gift for diagnosing the little secret nastinesses of the human condition. Jackson, it seems, was not discouraged by the reviews. At any rate, she was hardly dissuaded from using her fiction to tell